It's on neutral already.
Go ahead, right piece down. Very gently. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back to work on our Ninja H2. Like you guys saw, we bought this thing wrecked and we're building it from the frame up. In the previous video, we painted this wheel and threw on a brand new tire, but we did not balance it yet. So here we've got our Rabaconda tire balancer. So we are going to set this up and get this wheel off and balance it and get it ready for the road. All right, we've got heel guard, hose, brake calipers, speed sensor. Front wheel is balanced using this awesome Rabaconda wheel balancer that is super portable. And what we just did was align both of the fork tops so that they are flat and flush with the rest of the bike. And that definitely helps with my OCD. Now our next goal is to hopefully get this bike to start. There's a few things we need to do before we can do that, like connecting the rest of the coolant pipes there, fixing this brake line routing before we take it off this front stand. We'll also need to connect this ECU to the bike's main harness and any other miscellaneous modules that we have laying around. And most important, make sure we have enough oil in the bike before we give her a crank. Okay, so we're at the part of the build where I start wondering, did I connect everything right? Is the harness routed correctly? And why are there so many extra connections just laying around? Well, we've got a lot of questions to be answered. We know positive is red, negative is black, so we got those connected on the battery along with the starter relay that's underneath this cover. But we've got a single wire here coming from our DynoJet Commander wire harness, the connector for the auxiliary coolant pump for the intercooler, random connections here, here, and here, along with right here as well, which is a little concerning. Now we have our rear wheel speed sensor connected and plugged into the harness, and right here's our rear brake light switch connector, and this is where it goes to, so that's pretty easy. But then again, what about these connectors? Like, I got no idea. Also, this harness looks like it's sitting right where the fuel tank will go, so I think I need to pull this harness all forwards and secure this up against the subframe, not where it's sitting in the middle. Holy, look at the size of that sucker, dude. My goodness. And not to forget, our DynoJet just goes right in the back here by our rear turn signals. But let's plug in everything we can, including the ECU, and see what happens. So fast. What? That was way too quick. Dude, this thing started literally right up. Didn't even have to do anything. First things first, we need to top off this oil as it was low from the beginning. We gotta get you revving it.
It's on neutral already.
Go ahead.
There you go. See?
You know how to do this?
Nope. You push this in, right?
No. Pull the gray piece down. Very gently. Very gently. Bro, it's the other way.
Oh, price-wise.
Alright, you gotta hold it.
It's like a Ford Mustang.
Hold it. Straight.
It is
Straight. No, it's not.
All right.
There you go. That's straight right there. Nice. We had some brake fluid leaking over here. It's tight now. Man, that first start was awesome. This sucker fired up right away. Took like 2 cranks. That's insane. We topped off the oil, made sure we're at a good level. And that whistle, man, that'll never get old. Impeller spinning freely. That was pretty cool. I made sure nothing was around it. Also, no oil leaks. That's a huge plus. And more importantly, no faults on the dash, even with all of this aftermarket wiring in place. Had a little bit of a brake leak on this line, but we tightened that up. All good to go. Now, the reason we haven't done anything with the tank yet is because I'm working on trying to get a full carbon fiber tank for this bike. But obviously this tank does not fit in here because I do not have the wiring routed correctly, and we have the airbox for the supercharger to throw in as well. So we got to do that and fix this wiring. Now, like you guys saw in one of my previous videos, we installed an oil catch can for this Ninja H2 to help prevent any oil from getting in the airbox from the blow-by on the side of the engine. Well, this kit's final step is to plug up the old hole in the airbox right before the supercharger. Now we gotta snake this tube all the way up and around into the blow-off valve. Plus, one of you guys, Dirty Garage, mentioned in his video that these bolts right next to the supercharger are notorious for backing out and completely ruining this $4,000 supercharger. Matt's channel is now called The Workshop, but I appreciate it, Matt. I do see your recommendations. Your videos are hilarious. So when we install this box, any of those bolts inside of the box are gonna get Loctited and torqued to spec. Let's go. We have got that wiring in the rear all complete. I had it wrong from the beginning. The harness is supposed to go on this right side or left side of the subframe, not up the right side. I had it all flipped around, so we swapped it back, and now everything is looking great. Plenty of room for that gas tank right in the center. And we have our fuel line that sits right here and connects to the bottom of the tank. And here is our fuel pump plug, which is very accessible and easy to plug in for the gas tank. Our blow-off hose is connected to the blow-off valve, nice and secure all the way down to the airbox, which we tightened in with Loctite on these screws inside of the box. This seal in the corner is nice and dry and ready to seal off any air trying to get through on the outside of the filter. Now, speaking of an air filter, the previous owner had this in the extra parts pile. This is a brand new DNA air filter for this H2. These are not cheap and really nice quality, great performance for this H2 supercharger. So I am very thankful for that, and it looks like this sucker's already pre-oiled. That's slick. Pop into place like so, and then there's a box that goes on the outside of this, sealing all this up, and then that air intake tube comes out and goes all the way up to the nose of the bike. And here's that box that we were just talking about. That goes on the outside of the air filter. Here's our old air filter, all nice and oily. You know what? Let's throw this on. Now that that airbox is in, we're really just waiting on some key components from Kawasaki directly at the factory. Now, no lie, this is a very tight fit with the harness right above this airbox and all of the components underneath. Getting these drain lines on both of the airboxes was pretty difficult, but I'm happy that we no longer have the oil blow-by going into this box, so basically we'll never have to drain these. Now, moving on to some aftermarket stuff, this is the connector for the coolant pump for our intercooler system. Given how long this wire is, I thought it ran to the back, but it actually turns out it runs all the way to the front nose. There's this replacement connector that plugs directly into the harness that has a 2-pin on it, and that is a direct fit for our pump plug. The excess must just get tucked up in the frame, but I'm pretty sure this plug is for the front headlight. So basically it's sharing the power, or this red wire, to that coolant pump and the front headlight. Whenever the front headlight turns on, it sends power and ground to our coolant pump for the intercooler system, always pumping fluid through the intercooler. A very simple design, and it won't throw a fault code because it's just simply drawing a little bit more voltage. Now, speaking of voltage, here are our rectifier plugs. Now, when I got the bike, neither of these were plugged in, so I really have no idea where they go, and I can't find the rectifier, so I might have not gotten it from the beginning. Now, moving on to the headlight, here's the big boy that has that connector we were just talking about. And this is definitely such a strange design. It reminds me of the Gixxer front headlights that are just front and center. Now, this sucker bolts in right here, but so many modules connect to this thing. So let's put it into place and try to figure out where everything goes. All right, front headlight is in. Couldn't get it to turn on because we have to start the bike for that. But we did verify that our turn signals, front and rear, are working. Turning the bike on and using this switch and the hazard button, both sides, front and rear, are functional. Now, we did attempt to use the rear brake, but I forgot I'm missing that spring that attaches to the switch right here and then attaches to the lower brake lever, which is also something we need to replace. Now, we do have the front brake lever connected, but I'm not getting anything out of that rear brake. So I wonder if this connection is incorrect. There's an identical connector down there that I have the left clutch sensor switch plugged into. So I wonder if those need to be switched. But that's going to be all for this episode, guys. In the next one, we're going to throw all the fairings on and hopefully our Kawasaki parts from the factory show up and we can finally finish and ride this machine. We need a few components for this rear brake. We need this pipe for the coolant. I broke the clutch reservoir, so we ordered one of those too, and this bracket, and a few other odds and ends here and there, like all of the clamps for the rear swing arm, because none of them came with this swing arm. As you guys know, the swing arm was not attached to this bike originally. It was stretched. We threw this OEM swing arm back on. But anyway, I am super excited to ride this thing. It sounds awesome, and it was fun having the little bro rev it. Whew. Nothing sounds like these H2s. Now, I'm gonna be on vacation for a couple weeks with the siblings, so when we come back, this Kawasaki is gonna be a brand new color, and I can't wait to show you guys. And hopefully you guys will see a nice surprise carbon tank. But that is gonna be all for tonight, guys. Thank you for watching. We will catch you in the next one. See ya.